when wildlife filmmakers set off. They expose themselves to odd transportation, to fierce animals, and dangerous underwater trips. Risk life and limb to capture amazing images. Watch some of the most exciting wildlife encounters ever captured on film. For motorists in Sweden, dangers lurk ahead. Big game crossing the road. Dangerous not just for car drivers. The brown bear takes this encounter in his stride. In the woods, bilberries and cranberries are ripening. They attract two-legged berry lovers as well, of course. This one only has eyes for tasty fruit. Cloudberries are particularly tasty. Engrossed in collecting these delicacies, he fails to notice the brown guy approaching. European brown bears may be less aggressive than their American relatives, the grizzlies, but retreat is still the wisest option. The bear pays no attention to the berry collector. He's more interested in another enticing snack, ants. Along with their protein-rich larvae, the insects provide a big part of the omnivore's diet. Fish is also at the top of the bear's list, but catching it proves quite a lot harder than licking up ants. Handy if you can get an angler to do your dirty work. The angler is the wildlife filmmaker Andreas Keeling. At first, he tries to save his supper, then decides that the wiser man gives in. The cunning and bold bear enjoys his easy catch. Andreas might not have had much luck fishing, but he's been really fortunate in getting these amazing images to take back home. Military training areas are playgrounds for big beasts. This tank is the best evidence of this. It's also said that beasts made of flesh and blood live here. Wolves. Wolf expert and wildlife filmmaker Sebastian Körner has come to find out if this is true. On the exercise field in the middle of Germany, he sets up 2 video traps. Some curious wolf cubs do walk into the film traps. This is sensational. They are the first wild living wolves to be sighted here for 150 years. The cubs are still very playful, so no one will be scared of them. But how will people react when they are fully grown adults? The intelligent hunters are quick to learn that domestic animals are easier to catch than wild deer. The shepherd, Frank Neumeier, was one of the first people to experience this. He has sworn on keeping shepherd dogs ever since, but the shock runs deep.
Back in 2002, I found 27 sheep dead.
27?
Yes, they were spread all over 30 hectares.
How does that feel when you find 27 dead sheep?
Well, you're stunned. You can't imagine.
Wolf expert Sebastian knows that wolves keep their distance from humans. In order to get one in front of the lens, you have to have a stroke of good fortune. Federal Forest Ranger Jorn leads him and the journalist Tim Berendonk to a good spot. A total of 3 cameramen position themselves behind bushes. That should triple their chances of success. quiet, up till now. The birds are sounding alarm. Was that something in the undergrowth?
There is something.
Looking around simultaneously, they want to find out.
Wolf, behind us. Sebastian can't see it. Can you try to film it? There's the wolf.
It's impossible for him to film, and neither Sebastian nor his colleague have noticed the noiseless animal. The guys in the hideout are tense with anticipation.
My God, it really is a wolf.
It's impossible to give Sebastian a sign. The wolf would disappear immediately. Then a second one appears.
There it is. The wolf. Can you see it? There. Yes. Awesome. My God.
Unbelievable.
Sebastian has spotted the young wolf too.
They've realized. They've noticed that something is moving, but they don't know what it is.
The young animals don't know what to make of this hairy monster. Suspicious, but determined, one of them gets closer to Sebastian.
The other one's disappeared into the woods. It's lost interest.
But this one won't give in so easily. His curiosity wins. He can sense something.
It can smell something, but doesn't know what it is. It's sniffing the air.
He's curious and a bit wary.
The young wolf is unsure what to do. On the one hand, he wants to know what this thing is in front of him. On the other hand, this creature could prove dangerous. He glances back and forth between Sebastian and the hideout. Then he too disappears noiselessly into the woods,
Oh boy.
leaving the filmmakers thrilled with their find. South Africa, rich in biodiversity, this is El Dorado country for wildlife filmmakers. Thomas Behrendt is on the trail of a herd of elephants. Ranger Ashley Wormwald spots them first. Ashley drives full speed ahead. Quite a risky business on rough, sandy tracks. Time and again, they have to stop. Soon they meet the animal responsible for the roadblocks. Because the juiciest leaves are at the top, he fells the entire tree. Swiftly, Thomas and Ashley position the camera. While the elephant enjoys the fruits of its labor, the rest of the herd appears. It's playtime for the young ones. Fascinated, Thomas carries on filming the elephant youngsters, forgetting everything else around him. Ashley is an experienced guide and knows how to calm the elephants down. He's usually successful. But not today. Thomas doesn't have enough time to switch off the camera. They have to back off as quickly as possible. Wildlife filmmakers may want to get as close as possible to the protagonists of their film, but they don't want to disturb them, and they certainly don't want to provoke them.
Well done.
Thomas is pleased. Thanks to Ashley's foresight, no one has been hurt, and he's managed to capture beautiful images on film. It was thanks to Ashley's driving skills that they even managed to reach the herd in time, before it disappeared off into the impenetrable wilderness.
You've been driving like hell. Sometimes we need that, eh? That was really good. Thank you. You've been driving very, very fast.
Black rhinoceros, the giants of the African savanna, and they are surprisingly quick and agile. This is something that wildlife filmmakers Christine and Uwe Anders have first-hand experience of. Mother rhinos in particular are easily irritated. They don't beat around the bush. One small consolation, their camera has remained intact. The gigantic female starts her threatening behavior again, and then turns away. The intruders have understood. In Pantanal, some of the largest wetland areas on Earth, filmmaker Christian Baumeister wants to film jaguars.
Jaguars have a close to perfect camouflage, so it's really hard to find them. So we have to go up and down many times on the river to just find one. Not an easy job at all.
To find a jaguar, you have to keep a lookout for their prey, capybaras. But the watchful rodents have noticed the big cat. Despite their alarm, the jaguar continues regardless. And catches an unexperienced young. Christian keeps a lookout for animal tracks, and he isn't disappointed.
That's amazing. That's very fresh jaguar tracks. We have been passing by this little beach 10 minutes ago, and there was nothing to see on the beach. And now we have these tracks here. So probably the jaguar is still around. So we have to be a little bit careful, because it can be dangerous.
Christian knows the risks he's taking. It is extremely dangerous to film jaguars in this wild environment.
As wildlife filmmakers, we are completely exposed. We very often have to walk through dense vegetation. If you come face to face with a jaguar and it shows signs that it wants to attack, that's a very dangerous situation. In case you run, you're completely lost, because it's a cat with powerful instincts and it will run behind you and will attack. That's exactly what happened in the last jaguar attack here in the Pantanal. There was a fisher boy, he was coming too close to the animal. Suddenly he started running and the jaguar just went behind. So that's what you never should do.
Then Christian discovers a caiman. But the big cat was the first one to discover it. Christian is exhilarated. Capturing the two animals fighting has rarely been achieved up to now. Just how will the fight between the reptile and the perfect hunter end? Like daggers, the jaguar uses his sharp fangs to sever the caiman's vital nerves. The battle could have easily gone the other way. This time, it's a victory for the jaguar. The jaguar hides the 60-kilogram heavy caiman in the bushes in order to feast undisturbed. Christian's courageous jungle effort has proved worthwhile. He has breathtaking film material of rarely seen images to take home with him. The Amazon, life artery of the Brazilian rainforest. An unusual expedition, diving in the heart of the jungle. The wildlife filmmakers Joe Stevens and Florian Grainer are on the lookout for the rainforest's nocturnally active inhabitants. The sun sets fast close to the equator. Within an hour, it is pitch dark. The first animals begin to appear. Vampires, for example. At night, everything looks more mysterious underwater. Florian and Joe discover a gigantic suckermouth catfish. Though he looks rather frightening, the herbivore is in fact harmless. Then, suddenly,
Piranhas! Piranhas! There they are!
Florian and Joe start panicking.
Piranhas! Piranhas again!
Piranhas are active during the day. The light must have attracted them.
That wasn't much fun. We were enjoying diving with catfish and so on, when all of a sudden a shiny-looking thing shoots through the water. It was a red-eye piranha. It circled us wildly a couple of times and bumped into my mask. Bang! It was 40 centimeters long and really heavy. And then he swam into Joe. That certainly gets you thinking.
The east coast of South Africa. A team of nature filmmakers are trying to find out how sharks, tunas and whales track their prey. Sardines.
A whale!
How long will it take for the hunters to find the fish? The team want to attract them with frozen sardines. The bags full of bait are lowered into the water. While preparing, the divers take the opportunity for a last test.
Taucher 3, hörst du mich?
Diver 3, do you hear me?
Hörst du mich?
Diver 2, can you hear me? Thomas, do you hear me? Okay, here we go.
3, 2, 1, go!
One of the divers grabs sardines out of the bait basket in order to squeeze the oil out. Straight away, the first shark appears. The man in charge of security senses danger.
Hört ihr mich?
Do you hear me?
Hallo Thomas.
Hello, Thomas? Are there sharks around?
Unten?
No one reckoned with this. At a depth of 10 meters, there are plenty of sharks swimming around, drawn in by the scent of sardine oil. Blacktip sharks and bull sharks swim in close circles around the bait and divers. A precarious situation. Bull sharks belong to the species that most often pose a threat to humans. The filmmakers have no harpoon or any other weapon with them. They're relying on experience, but the situation becomes unpredictable. Suddenly, a surprising amount of air bubbles start rising to the surface. One of the divers is in trouble. He's taken off his mask and is sharing oxygen with a diving partner. But what happened?
Marco has to decompress, but has no oxygen bottle.
Okay.
What is the second?
What?
What is the second bottle?
I don't know where.
Ja, wir machen jetzt da einen dran. wir machen
Yes,
da
we'll
einen
connect it.
Hectic on board.
dran. Ja.
You drive.
You make it ready and you drive.
And I make this ready.
Komm.
This much is certain. The diver must keep his depth in order to compensate for pressure. But his breathing mask is defective. The idea is to keep calm. Easier said than done when amongst bull sharks. This is not a practice run. Every move has to be spot on.
The box, Andreas. Take it and lift it, but slowly.
Thomas brings the oxygen bottle to his diving partner. Nerves on board are taut.
Alles okay, Marco?
Are you okay, Marco?
Marco has made it. The accident happened because Marco's mask started letting water in, began to fill up. A dangerous situation, one that fortunately came to a good end. The hot and humid north coast of Australia. In summer, the temperatures rise daily over 30 degrees Celsius. This doesn't prevent wildlife filmmakers Torav Grospitz and Jens Westphalen from setting off to find the rare Australian cassowary.
It's coming off.
In the tropical rainforest, they encounter one challenge after another.
There have been incredibly heavy rains upstream, and we ought to cross the river right here. But we're afraid to do so because over there our car could be washed away and then it would be gone, plus equipment, plus us. Also, there are lots of crocodiles, so we won't drive this way today.
Saltwater crocodiles are the largest living reptiles. They grow to lengths of over 6 meters. Jens and Toralf must be careful. The aggressive animals are lurking everywhere in the mangrove forests.
The saltwater crocodiles in the north of Australia are really dangerous. After seeing them in action, I believe it.
Saltwater crocodiles belong to the rare species that consider human beings their prey. This is a certainty. Bathing forbidden. At least it's not a good idea, and you shouldn't go close to the water.
Exactly.
Toralf, come to me with your camera. Can you see it? Behind me there's a wild hog in the swamp. Perfect food for crocodiles.
Ideales Krokodilfutter.
After that, I thought, if I'd been caught by this crocodile, I'd have been thrashed around in the same manner as the wild hog. It's incredible how fast they emerge out of the water. A tiny stimulus is all that's needed.
I'm really afraid of them, and everybody should be afraid of them. If not, it's dangerous.
But Jens and Toralf are still on the lookout for cassowaries. And because they have no other option, they have to cross the river where it's most dangerous.
There's the next river.
Doesn't look as bad as the last one.
Let's hope not. Are you sure we should cross it right here? Oh boy.
It's deeper than I thought.
Quite deep, my friend. Boy, the water is about to flood the car. Well done. Good.
And no problem. Go on.
In the huge North Australian woodlands, there are possibly only around 1,500 cassowaries left. Whoever wishes to track down the flightless bird has to know what they eat: large fruit.
Look, it's one of those fruits.
Cassowary chicks. However, this means red alert.
When a cassowary is leading his chick around, he will attack any intruder, including men.
We know about casualties with cassowaries. People have been killed. The birds have extremely sharp claws and strong legs. And if they feel threatened or cornered, they attack. Once a curious chicken approached me.
It wanted to know what kind of guys are sitting behind their cameras over there. Strange.
The male was not amused, and he came very close to us. They make a very deep sound, the same tone as if you were blowing into a bottle.
We felt quite uncomfortable, though. This was too close. The male was making those strange sounds.
Toralf stood up. He was behind me, armed with a stick. But the cassowary simply went away, and everything was okay.
Wrangel Island in East Siberia, 500 kilometers north of the Arctic Circle. Today, the uninhabited island is a nature reserve. Wildlife filmmaker Uwe Anders wants to film polar bears. Every day, he sets out to track them down. One of these days, he gets into a very risky situation.
We spotted a bear near the coast. He was about 2 kilometers away. But we wanted to get closer to it, to a distance of 1 kilometer. While approaching the bear, we wanted to hide from it, so we drove close to the steep coastline. You need to be very careful. Behind the next ridge, there might be another polar bear. And indeed, I spotted its shadow and was alarmed. At the same time, I'd already passed the ridge and was standing face to face with a big male. It weighed about 600 kilograms. The bear was just 4 or 5 meters away. Of course, I immediately hit the brake. And you think, what next? Never turn your back on a polar bear or move backwards, at least if you're on foot. It thinks, well, that thing's running away. It's alive. I can eat it. I was driving a quad, and that's a different situation. I backed up a little, but the bear followed me immediately. Its head went down, its paws went forward, and the bear came even closer. Of course, I hit the brake again. But what next? I sounded the horn. The bear backed up a little bit, but was still clearly interested in me. Wild Ranger Alyosha is very skilled with polar bears. As nimbly as a fox, he jumped off the quad and grabbed a piece of wood. Then he slowly headed for the polar bear, beating the ground with the stick. If a walrus is attacked by a polar bear, the walrus beats the ground with its long teeth. You imitate this behavior with the stick. It worked. Slowly but surely, the bear walked back to the ocean and swam away. A truly critical situation. It could have ended badly.
And there are a large number of very hungry polar bears on Wrangel Island. Luckily enough, in the 4 months that Uwe spends on the island, not a single accident occurs. Siberia. Far from civilization, frozen rivers serve as the best roads in winter. Oliver Goetzel and Ivo Nuremberg want to film reindeer and are trying to reach a herd via the river. But suddenly...
The snow scooter in front of us, crash. All of a sudden it fell into the ice and made a hole 2 meters deep.
Well, we're in the depths of Russia with our snowmobile stuck. Really, really stuck.
The accident cost the team valuable time. It is already dusk, and the night will be extremely cold. Surviving outdoors is impossible.
There were 3 kilometers left to go. We had 150 kilograms of luggage with us, so we attempted to get to this mountain hut. Only 2 steps later, it became obvious to us that we wouldn't survive that distance. We said, we'll pitch our, unfortunately, inadequate tent. Inadequate because we cut holes into it for our camera lenses. We then go inside and lie down at minus 30 degrees. The guide waved his hands frantically and said, no, we'll all die. He gave us those hand signals. We must reach this mountain hut at all costs. If not, we will die.
It was our first night outside at minus 30 degrees. We'd already experienced minus 15, but minus 30 was new to us.
Ivo and I didn't feel cold at all because we had really good sleeping bags, suitable for Arctic conditions. But our poor guide only had a very thin sleeping bag with him. So he lay between us. On top of that, we covered him with parkas so that he too would survive.
As the sun comes up, the men in their shared accommodation are thankful that they have survived the ordeal. A Siberian morning has its own challenges.
In the morning, Oliver wanted to get out of the tent, but he couldn't get into his shoes because they were completely frozen. I went to the campfire and then defrosted Oliver's shoes, so Oliver could finally get out of the tent and get his breakfast.
Unfortunately, the hard efforts went unrewarded.
There were absolutely no reindeer in this area. That was frustrating, of course.
Aerial shots in the Ural Mountains. Ivo and Oliver hope that at least these will work out. They can't foresee that the hot air balloon flight will nearly cost one of them his life.
Ballooning is the best method for taking aerial shots. Originally, we wanted to film the border between Asia and Europe. But unfortunately, the balloon proved unsuitable.
This balloon was quite cramped. I was filming in the direction of flight because you get the nicest pictures. Oliver had to face backwards. I was looking through an extremely wide-angle lens and wasn't able to check if we were getting too close to an object. Eventually, I saw a beautiful mountain approaching and thought the pilot would fly the balloon over its top. I was switching off the camera when we crashed into it, and then I blacked out.
He flew over the camera and hit the ground. Then his leg got tangled up in one of the ropes. Ivo was dragged over the stones, over the mountain ridge, and bashed up by the balloon basket. When I woke up, I saw Ivo was 150 meters away already, and we were 100 meters up in the air. The rope had luckily untangled on its own.
After I woke up, I realized that I was alone, with the balloon 200 meters away. I saw them waving their hands.
Ivo, are you okay? But then, nothing. He moved from the right to the left once, but that was it. It looked like his final convulsions. There were big stones everywhere. We'd been dragged around these dangerous obstacles in a slalom-like way.
There is one nice X-ray from Hamburg of my shoulder blade, with all these fragments scattered around. It looked like an explosion.
He was incredibly lucky.
The vast Russian skies have been merciful this time. An atmosphere of doom on New Britannia. Hot ash clouds from the volcano Tavovur have burnt the South Sea island. Nevertheless, the expedition photographer Ola Lohmann and Taupe Wutap, an island inhabitant, set off. The two of them have visited Tavovur before. Volcanoes are Ola's passion. The volcano has been continuously active since 1994. Ever since then, kilometer-high ash clouds have hung over its vent. Right after their arrival, Tavovur exhales a hellish breath. Every inch of skin starts itching.
What a nice welcome. It's raining. Acid rain and ash. It stings my eyes, my skin. It's itching all over.
The sulfur gases that the volcano produces, combined with rainwater, create sulfurous acid rain.
Most of the time the weather is nice. But this ashfall? No.
Powerful forces rumble beneath Ulla's feet. When she was here for the first time years ago, the trees were green.
Looks like a ghost forest. Everything's dead.
One eruption after the next shakes the island.
This sound is everywhere. I can feel the ground shaking. Those blocks are as big as cars. It starts right now. Those bombs are flying around everywhere. Unbelievable! There is a bird of prey flying in the midst of those bombs.
It's a Brahmini kite.
It is flying in the midst of the raining bombs.
The bird will hardly find any prey on the slopes of the volcano, but who other than he dares to fly between red-hot rocks?
You can see how hot they are. They drag a tail behind them. Incredible! So many eruptions. I can't believe it. What a sight. An apocalyptic atmosphere, as if a mushroom cloud were rising.
What looked threatening during the daytime looks like fireworks at night.
Sheer madness. It's sending huge lumps of lava flying. That's my favorite picture. Fantastic. The whole mountain is on fire, full of lumps of lava. What a wonderful picture.
Then the party really gets going. That was just a taste of what was to happen the following night.
The volcano erupted. 3:30 a.m. The whole mountain exploded. The bombs flew to our base camp.
The red-hot stones from deep inside the earth are deadly. Torpa, in particular, was very fortunate.
We were fast asleep, and suddenly it blows up, and then we didn't even know what to blow, and then we just wake up and start running. I was running over to the toilet, and I fell down, and the big one fell in front of me, and I fell at the bed, and the other one on the side of me. I didn't feel I didn't touch them, but I feel the heat of the stone.
As fascinating as fire-spitting mountains may be, a love story with a volcano does not always have such a happy ending. In the Mediterranean, wildlife filmmaker Thomas Behrendt and sperm whale expert Alexandros Francis set off to the waters near Greece. Here they want to find the largest predatory animal on the planet. A large group of female whales surfaces in front of them.
Thomas, it may be nice. Prepare yourself. When you are ready, you let me know.
Thomas has no idea what is waiting for him. From the boat, no one can see what is happening beneath the surface of the water.
I've been waiting weeks for this moment. The whales have never been so close to our boat, and never so many of them. I really want to get closer to them.
The female whales are busy. They don't need onlookers. Unnoticed by the team, a baby sperm whale has just been born. Out of sheer curiosity, it swims towards Thomas. Mother and aunt are not taking this. Time to threaten the intruder. On the one hand, they have to help the baby whale reach the water's surface to breathe. On the other hand, they have to scare away possible enemies. Another aunt hurries to the mother's rescue. Thomas stares into rows of sharp, finger-long teeth.
Come on the boat, quickly!
Thomas swims for his life.
Straight forward, now!
Several sperm whales take up the chase. They are about a meter away from him.
Come closer to the boat! Here!
Any second now, they could bite him.
Behind the boat!
Quick, help him out of the water.
While Thomas is being pulled out of the water, his camera continues filming.
The drift carried us towards the whales. By coincidence, close to the baby. It was really dangerous. She already had her jaws around my leg. Who would have thought that this would be so dangerous?
When you see the newborn that has the fin. Yes, yes, yes. In the middle, they are protecting it. Yeah.
The newly born whale can't swim on its own. Its fins are too soft and flexible.
Da ist es.
There it is,
Genau
between the
zwischen
two
den beiden
adults.
Älteren dort. Mit der
It's
schuppigen
all
Haut.
wrinkly,
Noch keine
only
10
10 minutes
Minuten
old.
alt. Ist ja klar, was müssen
It's
die
clear what they
gedacht
must have
haben.
thought.
Genau in dem Moment,
While a baby's being born, I appear.
wird ein Kind
They think I
geboren.
want to attack the
Kein
newborn.
Wunder, dass die gedacht haben, ich will das Baby angreifen.
Thomas feels guilty about disturbing the whales. But to everyone's delight, the sperm whale baby is fine.
Quick, the camera!
Alexandros is thrilled. It's taken over 10 years of research into sperm whales to witness a moment like this.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. It was really, really...
I don't believe it. It's diving towards the boat.
This whale baby is particularly curious.
It really looks for support, huh, Alexandros?
The life of wildlife filmmakers is full of uncontrollable dangers, but also breathtaking experiences like these. And what could be more exciting than the nature of our planet?